Hi, this is Sara Levin, the Artful Inker. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and today I've got this pretty Christmas card to share with you using Stampin' Up! Supplies that you can find in my Stampin' Up! Store. Let's get started. To start this card, I've used the Playful Alphabet dies. They're in the Stampin' Up! Annual Catalog. And I have cut the letters for Mary in Blackberry Bliss. Now I've cut them all 4 times, which means that you've made 5 passes using the your Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Since we only have 1 R, that means that's your extra pass through the machine. So I've stacked 3 of them already, and we're just going to go ahead and add that 4th letter onto each one of these. Oops, looks like I've stacked 2 of them for some of these letters. So let's go ahead and just add our multi-purpose glue and get those all stacked up. And if you had preferred, you could have put your strips of cardstock for this on the adhesive sheet, and when the letters are cut, then they'll be sticky on the back, and all you have to do is pull the backing sheet off and stack your letters up. So somehow I always forget to reach for my adhesive sheet, but I know some of you all out there do not prefer my favorite glue here, and so using the adhesive sheet would mean that you wouldn't have to for this. So I'm just going to finish these up and be right back. Okay, now that the Mary is all stacked, I'm going to take my Versamark ink pad and a sponge dauber and just add a little bit of Versamark along a couple of edges on each one of these letters. And this is one of those things that, should you choose, you could be more random with the Versamark and just drag your letter across the top of the ink pad. I chose not to do that so that I have a little more controlled application of the ink. And then I'm just going to take my scrap paper here and pour out my embossing powder. Sprinkle this on each one of them. Okay, and then just take these out and over to emboss, and I'll be right back. Okay, so we've got our letters and they've got their little bit of gold on them, and now we're going to use the Warm Hugs stamp set. I've got a piece of Whisper White here and my scrap paper, and I think that this is 2 3/4 by 4 1/4. Okay, so I've got my Mint Macaron blends and my color lifter. I'm just going to open all of these up, and we're going to create our background using the blends, and then I'm going to just scribble over this with the color lifter to help blend. And let's go back in with this light one, and we just want to blend out some of that initial zig that I got a little too exuberant with. So we're just going to take this and just, again, we're just giving it a blend with the color lifter. Okay, let that dry a moment. And now we're going to take our Blackberry Bliss ink and a couple of those stamps from the Warm Hugs stamp set, and I am going to do this so that our images will be straighter when we place this piece on. Sometimes the optical illusion of, let's make sure that is really inked. It's enough to twist the piece of cardstock, and then it's another thing to have all of the little things twisted as well. So let's do one more of the outlines up here at the top, and maybe one more in here. Okay, so let's move this off to the side, and while we have these stamps out, we're going to not have my messy fingers on the cardstock, so we're immediately going to turn that over, and we're just going to put one of these trees on the inside layer, and let's see if I can line the fill stamp up pretty good. That will work. Okay, so let's close this up and get these out of the way before I add more inky fingerprints. Okay, and then we've got a piece of the 'Tis the Season designer paper and a layer of mint macaron. This is cut to 4 by 5 1/4, and I've used the Lace 3D embossing folder. If you've got this in the dynamic embossing folder instead, you'll want to check out my One Simple Trick video so that you know the right sandwich to use. Oh, and I forgot to mention, this is cut to 3 1/4, sorry, by 4 1/4. So let's put this together. I've got my garden green base, 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. And then we're just going to layer this on the inside. Okay, and then we'll glue our embossed mint macaron down. Okay, and before we move on from this layer, we're going to add a little bit of ribbon. So I've got my tear and tape, and let's just tear that off there. Grab my bone folder, give it a quick rub so that it's easy to pop the backing off, and then we'll use the take your pick under the edge. There we go, and pull that up. So I'm going to be using the basket weave ribbon that's in mint macaron. It's from the August through December mini catalog. Let me just straighten up my end here, and we're going to put this down. Okay, isn't that texture in that ribbon really gorgeous? And then I want to add a piece of the copper metallic ribbon that comes in that combo pack. And I'm going to do that with mini glue dots, but I'm going to take my Take Your Pick tool and roll that mini glue dot. And put one there. And then let's come around here and roll another one. And I'm just putting it out at either end because the middle will be held down by the rest of the card design. Okay, let's put those out of the way and trim my copper. This will give a nice pop back here. Okay, so let's layer up these two pieces. I need my dimensionals for the back of my 'Tis the Season designer paper layer. And we want to give this one plenty of support. The designer paper is not as heavy a weight as the cardstock, so let's give it plenty of help in holding this layer. That's what I'm trying to say, holding this layer. Okay, so we're just going to go down the center with this. Let's see, and then a couple out here on the side. I'm just checking to see where I'm actually overlapping. Okay, let's pull these off. And I'm just going to set this lightly to begin with until I've added this one over top to make sure that I've got the offset that I'm looking for. Okay, that'll work. Let's push these out of the way. And now we're going to add our letters. So let's bring these in. Oops. And it would help if I put them on in the right order. Okay. Oops. I'm going to straighten up the card and use my grid paper here because this is one of those times that, because of the optical thing that's going on with the wonky layers, it's easy to get what should be the straight layer off at an angle. Okay, so let's start with this middle R, and again you could choose to use the adhesive sheets here, and if all of your letters were backed with the adhesive sheet, it would be just a matter of pulling that backing piece off. One of these days I will remember to pull those out when I'm die cutting, smaller pieces particularly. This is one of those times that, whew, I don't know about you, but the going to pull my ruler in here real quickly, and while these still have a smidgy of wiggle room. Okay, and we're just going to check this alignment, and I'm using it along the grid lines, and frankly we look pretty good here. I wasn't sure how straight I was getting, so let's put that out of the way. Put this away, and then I've got a little bit of the champagne shimmer mist here, and I'm going to just put a tiny bit in the cap. Oop, let's clean that up. And let's put my take your pick tool out of the way. And I've got a water painter, and I'm just going to squeeze some water onto my brush and pick up some of this champagne shimmer mist and give it some little splatter of, let's pick up a little bit more, and one more time. Oop. Okay, and that's just got a tiny bit of splatter happening on it. I'd like a little bit more up here in this corner. Okay, so let's cap this up and move it out of the way. I'm going to take my finger and wipe up that little bit of shimmer that's on there. And then we need to finish our envelope. So I've got one of the Whisper White envelopes from the annual catalog. And we're just going to do a little cluster of trees here in the corner. And then let's flip this over, and we're going to do just one tree here in the back. I don't trust myself to line up more than that. And close the ink up. And then I've got more of that same 'Tis the Season paper that I used here. And we'll put on some of our Stampin' Seal just along the top here. And open up the flap and slide this right in. And you're putting this just below the gummed portion of the envelope. And there we have our lined envelope and our pretty card. And thank you for stopping in today. This was Sara Levin, the Artful Inker of theartfulinker.com. Give this video a thumbs up, share it with your card making friends, and subscribe to my YouTube channel and click the bell if you'd like to be notified the next time I upload a video. Have a great day. Bye.